Hi, I'm Kayla. I run My Big Easy Home. It is a lifestyle brand that shares all the greatest things about New Orleans through its events, its people, its culture, its history, and whatever inspires me. I am also a real estate agent, and today I am going to tell you about what determines a home's value. So when real estate agents sit down to evaluate the value of a home and sort of name an appropriate price for listing the home, there are a number of factors that we look at. And then there are just some also overarching factors, economic factors that will influence the home values in any given area. So real estate agents use something called comparables. You've probably heard of comps. Comps is short for comparables, and that is looking at similar properties in close proximity that have recently sold to the subject property that you are evaluating. So when we're looking for comps, we want a comp that is about the same size, so within 500 square feet, up or down. We want a home that is in similar condition. So if it's a new home, you want to compare it to a new home. If it is sort of an average condition, you want to compare it to an average condition home, and so on and so forth. You want it to be as close to your subject property as possible, preferably on the same street, or next door is great. And you also want to select a property that has sold recently. So in the last 6 months, that is going to give you the best comparison for where the market is and what buyers are willing to pay for a home of that quality and size in that location. So the best comp is the house next door that looks exactly like the one that you're trying to sell that sold yesterday. So a real estate agent is going to select 3 comps. They're going to average out what the square footage sale price is, and then they're going to multiply that by the square footage of the home they're evaluating, and that's going to give them about a value. And then there's always a little bit of intuition that goes into this as well. And the more time your real estate agent has been in the market and watching the market, they get really, really good at that. So you may have a price in mind, but you definitely want to hear your real estate agent out and listen to their recommendations. The second factor that will affect the value of a home is its location. So we all know location, location, location. It is the most important factor in a home's value. There are areas that are in high demand. There are areas that are in not so high demand, and we know that this can be a relatively fluid thing. Sometimes an area that is currently in high demand was not so long ago, maybe not quite a desirable area. So, we see sort of the rebirth of downtown and downtowns that, through the 70s and 80s and even the early 90s that were not doing so great, had lots of empty commercial spaces. Those have now re-beautified. You can even, get grant money in order to help to revitalize, those types of community spaces. So we see the desirability of locations shift and change with time and with the growth and change of the city that they are in. But whatever area is in high demand, that is going to give you the highest value. So if you are in a very high demand area and there are not a lot of homes available on the market, then that will also help to increase the value of the house. Another thing about location that affects the value of a home is the proximity to amenities. So for things like shopping, dining, entertainment, all of that is going to increase the value of a home. Think of a place like Manhattan, where there is lots of things to do, footsteps away, and we know the property values in big cities like that are very, very high, and that's a big part of why, because they offer very easy access to all of the things that people want to do. And another part of location is what is next door, what is across the street, what do you see when you look out the windows. So the view will definitely increase the value or decrease the value of a home. If you are in an undesirable area, like maybe the flight path of the airport, or there is a waste plant nearby or a chemical plant down the street, then that will have a negative effect on the value of a property. But if you're next door to lots of parks or a school or a country club, things that people would consider desirable, then the proximity to those types of places will bring the value of your home up. So another factor that we look at is the size. Homes are valued per square foot. So bigger house, more square feet, higher price is typically how it will go. And there is a little phenomena that I find very interesting. So if your house is the smallest house on the street, then it will benefit from the extra size of the houses around it, and the value of your home will actually go up compared to maybe a very similar same size house that is surrounded by houses that are its same size. And the reverse is also true. If you have the biggest house on the block, then the presence and it being surrounded by smaller properties will bring the value of your home down a little bit when compared to a home of a similar size that is surrounded by homes of its similar size. Another aspect of the home is the layout. So along with the size is how is the home laid out, and is that layout favorable for modern life and the way people live today. It used to be that the kitchen was hidden away, it was in the back of the home. When guests came over, they did not see the kitchen. They stayed in the parlor or the living area, and all of that entertainment work went on behind the scenes. But as we know, today, open concepts are hugely popular, and typically having the kitchen right smack dab in the middle of that open activity is most desirable. So the kitchen has become the central focus, the heart of the space, and it is where people gather. So how the house is laid out will definitely affect its value or its perceived value in the eyes of buyers. And the size and the number of bedrooms and bathrooms will also have a huge effect. Bathrooms used to be small. There used to be one bathroom for a house, even if it had 3 or 4 bedrooms. And today we see the trend being, ideally you have as many bathrooms as you have bedrooms, or a very close number. And you want the bedrooms to be good size. You want the bathrooms to be good size where people can easily share the space if they need to, or just have room to kind of move around. That is more desirable in today's market. And so the size of the bedrooms and the bathrooms, and the number of them, and the proportion of bedrooms to bathrooms is also going to affect the perceived value of the home. The next thing is improvements and upgrades. So if you have added additional space to your home, you have an addition that you have built from the original floor plan, then that will increase the value of the home as well, because more square footage is more money typically. You do want to make sure though, if you are doing those types of improvements or any improvements on your home, that you get the proper permits, because the presence or absence of permits can greatly affect the value of the home for buyers. They don't want to buy a house with a bunch of additions that are not up to code. If they ever want to make changes, then chances are they're going to have to undo all of your work in order to do the work they want to, and that is not something that buyers consider very favorable. So if you're going to do any major upgrades or improvements or additions, you want to make sure that you're going through the proper channels and you get the proper permits. And modernizing the home. The desired materials that people want changes over time. Trends come and go, and so, you know, I can just like think right now the orange linoleum and, you know, the Formica cabinets of the 70s. You know, you walk in a house today and you see that and you're like, oh, it's so dated, right? So if you have made adjustments to the aesthetic of the home by adding modern materials, upgrading those sort of dated trends, then that will have a huge effect on the value of the home in a positive direction. And along with that is the age and condition of the home. So condition being more important than age, because you can have an old home that is impeccably maintained and well kept, and the age of that home is not going to have nearly as much of a negative impact as if it is an older home that has not been kept up and things like electricity and plumbing haven't been updated. So more than age is the condition. You want to make sure that, you know, everything in your home is working and operating optimally. All the toilets flush, the water pressure's good, all the faucets work, all of the light bulbs work. All of those things are going to influence a buyer's perception of the value. If some of those things don't work, they're not going to see the home as valuable as if all of those things are functioning properly. So a well-maintained home, you know, freshly paint on the outside or cleaned on the outside, that's going to go a super long way. And just making little adjustments, you know, normal wear and tear, you get nicks in paint and all of those things are just sort of natural to living in a space. But when you're looking to sell it, you want to kind of update all of those things, fix all of those little nicks and scratches that will increase the value of the home as well. So the last couple factors that we're going to talk about are sort of external to the house, things that really, you know, are not in your control at all, but do have an impact on the value of the home. And one of them is the local market and the local inventory. So when there are plenty of choices out there for buyers, then you can get into bidding wars, which can drive the price of the home up, or you can have people looking for a better deal, which can drive the value of the home down. And if there is very little inventory at all, then again, you know, that's going to affect the perceived value. Scarcity makes things more valuable. So if you're listing in a market where the inventory is really low, then you might get a better price than if you listed at another time when maybe not a lot of people are looking. Because there are other factors, economic, that affect people wanting to buy homes, and things like interest rates are a huge deal. Interest rates really, really low here in the early months of 2021 and were throughout most of 2020. So we have lots of buyers out looking. So having a good inventory available for them is super important, and that is going to affect home values in any given market area. And also external economic factors, things like job availability, things like good schools, things like you know, having good quality of life, lots of activities, lots of outdoor things to do, lots of beautiful scenery. All of those things will also affect the value of the home. Those external physical and economic factors that you really have no control over as a homeowner, but they do affect the overall value of property. So that is just a few, 5 or 6 things that affect the value of a home. And if you are interested in learning how the value of your home stacks up against this market in New Orleans, then please give me a call. My number is 504-356-2170. No pressure, no sales tactics, just the answers that you need. And if you're looking to buy, contact me as well. If you have any questions, then you can drop those in the comments. You can DM me. But if you leave it in a comment, I will make sure that I come back and check the comment section on the video to make sure that I get all of the questions that you leave answered. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.